Okay. Ooh. Yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. My throat been a little bit sore. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Your discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Dragon King Mark here, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong, Part 79. The last we left off, we escaped from the tiger's den, and ultimately found out that we basically got betrayed, and we went out in style. So, in order to escape and get out of the impound lot, because I'm pretty sure Krait had that place surrounded, we came aboard the Benteng and met the captain over there. So this is going to be our base for the foreseeable future. If you like what you guys see, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to stay notified. Let's get down to it. So much has been happening this week. Where do I even begin? Oh god, I don't even know where to begin. But let's talk with the captain. The captain's wheelhouse is surprisingly warm, despite its coldly utilitarian interior. Sounds of the sea breeze outside rolls it over the cabin, and the soft whistle hums through the cluttered room. You find Utama standing near a makeshift wet bar. Crates and tool chests loaded full of liquor bottles, all piled onto a coffee table that sags under the weight. The captain swirls a clear, yellow-tinted liquid around the interior of a thick glass. You watch her grab a pinch of what looks like salt from a small, open dish, then carefully sprinkle into the cup. Her voice is hard when she addresses you, but her eyes remain locked on the drink, which continues to swish around and around in ever-tightening circles. Getting acquainted with the Benteng, are we? She holds the glass up to her nose and inhales. Satisfied, she takes a sip, her eyes flash toward you. Good. Hey, drinking alone. She noses toward the wet bar with her elbow. Water? I'll have what you're having. A bemused grin graces the captain's scarred face. Oh, are you sure? No questions asked? I don't like the way you said that. Just what are you drinking? Utama wraps her free arm around her chest and lets out a disapproved huff. Damn. Thought I could have a little fun with you. It's guava juice, not that concentrated swill from the convenience store. This is real, squeezed in an orchid in the Yuan Long district. No chemicals, no preservatives, just fruit. She takes a little sip of her drink with a smack on her lips. She tilts her head towards you and stares at you through dual-colored eyes. So what brings you here? Something in your mind, Shadowrunner? What's it like to be a female pirate? Gods ups, gods downs. Many sailormen, captains, and crew alike view female seafarers with a critical eye. We're always at a disadvantage. The glare has even landed on me from time to time. Never mind the fact that I'm one of the best damn sea captains ever to grace the ports of this sorry planet. I have to make a display of my power before I'm assumed to have it. On the other hand, and in that same vein, we're often underestimated. This can work to our advantage. I'll never demean myself to gain the upper hand, but I will use a man's idiocy against him to my own benefit. There's no shame in that. The captain flicks a piece of lint off her shirt. At the end of the day, I wouldn't change things. It's a good life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I noticed a small saucer of powder over there in the wet bar. What is it? Utama sniffs loudly through her nose, studies you for a moment before replying. What do you think it is? Salt? She wrinkles her nose in disgust. Does it look like a nightclub to you? We don't garnish our drinks with sugar or salt out here. There's no better way of identifying a shitty drink than the size of the crab pallets buried under. She rubs her hand along the back of her neck. Look, I spent the better part of my life in the open ocean. They say when you first start sailing, you have to earn your sea legs. Otherwise, the rolling sickness will get you. I never did that. Never had to. I had my sea legs when the first time I ever set foot on a boat. Didn't realize that it could catch up to you, though. Seems as I get older, my stomach rolls with the waves more and more. She points toward the powder in the saucer. It's an anti-emetic. Keeps me from turning green on the job. You ever find yourself in need of some, you help yourself to my stash, but don't overdo it. A little goes a long way. Never mind, gotta go! So this week, well, these past few weeks, where the heck do I even begin? Call 3 finally wrapped up. I have so many thoughts. Racks of medical supplies and cybernetic components line the walls of this room. Across from the doorway, heavy-duty instruments are crammed together to conserve as much space as possible. Many of them look neglected, with a fine layer of dust and grime coating every raised surface. Other implements have clearly seen such regular use that they appear polished from all their handling. Hang on a quick sec. Okay, is that working? Alright, good. Yeah, I apologize that my microphone on my headset's been acting up again. I had to adjust it. So, in case if I sound off, that's why. A man stands toward the left side of the room. He wears a fitted, high-collar coat that looks like it gives him a lot of movement room and flexibility in his arms. A virtual retina display hangs over his right eye, highlighting it in yellow. He greets you with a nod and a quick smile. Welcome. He studies your face. You are new around here, I take it? Without waiting for an answer, he continues. The name's Andre, and I'm in the wear business. I got a large inventory if you're interested in buying. I'm more interested in the answers. You have a minute? Andre's eyes narrow. He takes a half step back, a cautious look on his face. Yes? What kind of answers? Who are you? Name's Sengshan. I thought maybe you and I could talk about what you do here. Seems like a strange place to set up shop. The man visibly relaxes. He breathes out through his mouth and finishes the gesture with a smile. Sorry about that. Those who roll with pirates often have long histories of their own. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions. I meant no offense. Sounds like you're carrying baggage, Andre. I know what that's like. He runs a hand behind his neck, carefully considering his next words. Slowly he responds. Yeah, I suppose that if you're here, you would. It isn't exactly a terribly exciting story. Let's just say that I've got a few creditors after my ass, and leave it at that. So then how'd you end up here? He appears puzzled by your interest. You really want to know? I've got nothing better to do. Alright, why not? The Johod Loa appear to be sold on the value of your Shadowrunners. They must have information that I don't, but if they trust you, then I suppose that's all I need. He grabs his bearded chin, then his eyes sink to the floor in thought. Well, where to begin? I was a physician back in Russia, worked in the trauma ward. It was an emotionally grueling profession, one thing led to another, and it wasn't long before I found myself hooked on BTL chips. That's where the debt comes in. A lot of debt. So much that there was only one way I could pay it all back in my lifetime. Given my options, I decided that a do-over was in order, so I left my old life behind. Well, I tried to at least. It seemed that no matter where I went, my creditors were always right on my tail, all the way up until I fled to Indonesia. He smiles weakly. There I met the glorious Captain Utama and her sailors. The rest is history. There's no way this bunch let you on board for free. What was the catch? You're a sharp one. Nothing comes free, eh? The price of my asylum was 10 years of indentured service as the Benteng's onboard cyber surgeon. At the time I thought the deal was manageable, but my continuing habit has since driven those 10 years of service up to 30. Truth is, I may die before I ever repay the captain, but let me tell you, indentured service among the Lohol Joa beats the hell out of being a debtor back in the motherland. He looks contentedly around the medical bay. I've got more here than I could ever hope for in my own life. And how are you getting along with the pirates? I've gotten used to them, and they've gotten used to me. They can be real slave drivers at times, but at their core, they're decent people. They may have even laid claim to me for the rest of my natural life, but at least they wouldn't work a man to death. He chuckles. Well, not quickly anyway. For better or worse, sounds like things worked out. You're right, and for that I am grateful. He snaps out of his nostalgia and stands up straight. His tone becomes businesslike again. Anyway, is there something I can get you while you're here? I need medical supplies. We'll get a dock wagon. Oh, right, we have a lot of those. But, it helps to be prepared. Let's see what about cyberware. BioWare, too. Nice. I guess the BioWare business is up and running again. That's good. Engine room. Okay, so Ordeal Call 3 in Fate Grant order. Where do I begin? I mean, we literally, literally, it's basically a sign off on on Fate Extra, honestly. And the fact that we have to literally fight the pruning phenomena is actually impressive. There's going to be some major ramifications, but there's also the fact how literally, Passion Lip got a summer outfit, but we didn't get it as a skin. We also got Hakuno, literally the pro tag of Fate Extra, as a servant. That's honestly kind of kick ass. A woman in an armored trench coat hunches over a smoking grill, her assault rifle leaned up against a nearby crate. She prods at an assortment of rapidly blackening fish, eels, squid, and other sea life, all the while fixing them with a critical glare. She glances up and squints as you approach. Huh, you're not a prisoner, you don't look like a pirate, and this sure as hell ain't a standard tourist destination. Welcome to the Benteng, whoever you are. It's the finest pirate barge in at least a 50-mile radius. Ning Sing Shan. Who are you? Chastity Blackwell, independent mercenary. I've seen action from Azania to the transpolar Aluet Nation. But for now, I'm having a bit of time off on the Johor Loa. Nobody shouts at me on the Benteng, and most of the visitors are potential clients. So why are you cooking all this fish? Because Utama cooks, if you can call them that, are goddamn atrocious. I've eaten prison food in Ulaanbaatar that tasted better. Words are the wise, unless you want to eat sludge that looks like it was poured from a septic tank, you're gonna have to cook your own meals out here. Trust me, it's worth it. Why does Utama have a better cook? Honestly, I don't know. A good cook will make or break morale. Anybody who's ever served on a ship knows that. I can only assume that Rinaldi is really good at something else. From what I hear, he used to be a targeting officer on a Rebel Hawk missile cruiser. Maybe he's the guy that set up the Benteng's defensive perimeter. I'm not sure. Still, you'd think that a bunch of damn Filipino and Indonesian pirates would stock a half-decent spice cabinet. But no, it's all pre-packaged spice mixes, mostly scourged from instant noodle packages. I'd have killed for some sambal olek a month ago, and Rinaldi tried to make some bebek goreng using fast food chili packets. They finally let me go ashore for supplies. Dang. Seriously. I heard that Filipino spices are really good, but that sucks. What do you know about the Johor Loa? Quite a bit. They're pirates and they live around Hong Kong, and Jomo's the only slightly crazier than most of them. What else is there to know? Sorry, I assume that you're interested in particular. How'd they get started? They were Filipino refugees mostly. Two clans, the Johor and Loa, resisted the Japanese occupation of the Philippines. Some joined the Hawk rebels, but most decided to join the Hakka fishing communities around the Hong Kong. Over the years, they intermarried, at first with each other, then with the Chinese, Indonesians, and Malaysians as well. The whole venture is pretty much a family affair. Each ship tends to be run along family lines. The captain is the family elder, backed up by their spouse as first mate. The eldest child, sometimes sibling, is the bosun, and the kids are the deckhands. Seems to work out well. It's basically just a family business, and the fleet of ships are extended family. Chastity gestures toward the expanse of the Benteng, smiling crookedly. Because of that, they're united but independent. Take the Benteng, for example. It isn't just Utama's ship, it's her family, her house, her business, and her legacy to pass on to her children. That's part of why they don't like stand-up fights as much as they do hit-and-run jobs. Nobody wants to get their family killed. So where do they operate? They'll go anywhere in the South China Sea. I've heard stories that they get as far as south as Huangzhou sometimes. And they run down to Darwin if the cargo's right. But in terms of their home base, it's been the Sai Kung for over 10 years. They're 100% Hong Kong natives, even if some of the locals don't seem to think so. Chastity grins crookedly. I guess that's part of why I like them so much. They're kind of a mixed-up multinational families that makes the modern world so interesting. Their own nation is their fleet, and their language is a mix-up of Indonesian, Cantonese, Tagalog, Malay, Spanish, and English. They're beholden to no one but themselves. That's an admirable thing in this day and age. That's honestly an admirable thing in life, to be honest, but yeah, I get it. So what's a pirate's life like? Chastity frowns, glancing at you in a sidelong fashion. Why are you asking me and not Jomo? You know him better than you know me, and I only know what I see from the outside. I mean, I guess I know more about them than most people. She sighs and shrugs. Okay, well, I guess the first thing to know is that it isn't as glamorous as they make it out to be. Most of the Joe Aloha ships are living hard hand to mouth. They don't have any savings, and they can wind up stranded if something breaks down at sea. It's mostly a lot of sailing around, bribing harbor masters to find out what ships are carrying the good stuff, and then running off to steal it all. Some pirates show up with big guns. This family would rather do it in a fast and hit and run. Sure, they got big guns, but they'll only use them as a last resort. Ammo costs money, you know. Let's talk about something else then. So how'd you get into cooking? Are you kidding me? Chastity smirks, folding her arms over her chest. After a minute, her smirk fades. Oh, you're serious. Okay, so basically there are three types of mercenaries. She lifts a hand and starts counting off on her fingers. The first type are the ones who work for big outfits like Met 2000, Bright Blade, Tsunami, or whatever. They're not much different from corporate armies in a lot of ways. They've got tons of support and finances, so everywhere they go, they build bases with mess halls, barracks, the works. Second, you got small units that sign up with well-established clients. They don't work for a big PMC, but maybe they got a team of 50 or so. They got contracts from reasonably lucrative clients, a lot of work in Africa from corporations, or urban convoy duty in areas that are still a bit iffy. Places like Caracas, Vladivostok, Lagos, whatever. These units usually roughen a bit more, but they're usually attached to larger groups as extra muscle. And you got people like me, true freelancers, cowboys. We fill out the gaps in larger units, but we can never tell how big of the group we'll be with. Sometimes the corporation needs some soldiers garrisoned at some mine, and they round up 10 of us and throw us out into the field with nothing but what we got brought with us. Unless you have some kind of unhealthy love for field rations, you learn to cook whatever you've got around, or you make friends with someone who does. Why hang out on a boat rather than a safe house? I like boats. I like sailors. Chastity shrugs. I spent a lot of time as hired muscle on everything from drone container ships to small smuggling vessels. Most of those small boats were in the Aegean, though. Quick runs between small islands. Shit, I remember this one time. Chastity starts snickering to herself. The snicker becomes a chuckle, then the chuckle eventually turns into a roaring laugh as she doubles over, clutching her sides. You alright there? Chastity begins coughing in an effort to catch her breath. Sorry, She gestures excitedly towards the grill with one hand. The fish! Finally pulling herself together, the mercenary stands up and takes a long, deep breath. Wiping a tear from her eye, she launches into a story. Okay, so this one time I was out on a fishing boat, but the skipper was actually running guns and missiles to Bari, right? Not much danger out there, aside from other gun runners and pirates, so we were taking it slow. Nice, warm summer cruise. I've been amusing myself by fishing while I kept watch. I got a tug on my line, and I reeled this amazing, heavier, gilt-headed sea bream. It was beautiful, and a good 10 kilos. She stares off into the distance, shaking her head in disbelief. I knew right then it's what we were having for dinner that night. That's a hell of a big fish. One of the other mercs on the boat was this elf pistol adept, fastidious guy. Liked his fine wine and food. Anyway, he slides up, asks what I'm gonna do with it. What do you think I'm gonna do? I say. I'm gonna grill it up with some olive oil, lemons, and garlic. You know, standard Greek-style stuff. Well, the elf gets this look like I slapped his mother. He just screws his face up in a sneer and asks what the hell is wrong with me. I ask him how he'd do it. You have to poach a fish like that. Lay down a bed of pilaf rice, zucchini, bell peppers, and onions. You cook it slow in foil with a touch of wine. Only a barbarian would grill it, he says to me. Chastity dips her head, grinning. That wasn't something I was prepared to hear. I explained to him that to preserve the fish's natural flavor, grilling was a superior choice. I might have suggested that he had delusions of aristocracy. He countered that his method would create a superior flavor profile overall, as well as to be a complete meal, and questioned if my mother had been a goat and my father a chimpanzee. That went on until he had his Colt manhander's barrel halfway into my mouth and my combat knife was pressed against his trachea. We would have kept up our argument too if the first mate hadn't doused us with a fire hose. Chastity grins at you expectantly. All this over how to cook a fish. Though how'd you end up cooking it? We didn't. When we got blasted by the fire hose, the fish got washed through a scupper and back out into the sea. I think we ended up having spam and eggs instead. See you then. Well, food can't bring people together. Everyone has their own preferences. Oh, friendly orc. With an easy smile and a relaxed body language, something about this orc seems intrinsically pleasant, despite the myriad guns and the swords laying out on the table near him. He raises a hand in greeting as you approach. Hey, stranger. Always nice to see your face around here. Who are you? Nice to meet you too. You part of the crew? Who, me? Nah, man, I'm just hanging out here until my next job. I know some of the crew, and it's a good transit hub if you're looking for go places by ship and stay off the official records. It's a pretty cool place, truth be told. Name's Garrick, by the way. Wandering swordsman, at your service. So you're running or something? Something like that. A more appropriate term in Hong Kong would be ya hop, but same difference. Garrick shrugs. You boil it down, I'm a street samurai who happens to be good with a blade. Guns too, but I like swords. Where you from? Garrick doesn't sound like a Chinese name. I grew up in the street in Oakland, California, Free State. You know, Orkland? Garrick gestures toward his two tusks, grinning. Non-humans weren't very welcome in San Francisco after Japan began protecting it. Anybody who wasn't highly connected or a normal human got shoved out. You'd probably have just been fine. The Japanese Marines forced some humans out, but most of the victims were minorities. Marched us all across the bridges at gunpoint without any kind of plan about where we'd stay. They think it was their problem. Happened a year or two before I was born. A lot of people still live in shanty towns. What's California Free State like these days? Kind of a piece of crap. San Francisco's all wrapped up by the Japanese megas, their playground basically. Los Angeles is an independent city-state. When your biggest claims to power and fame are Sacramento and Ventura, you know you're really scraping the barrel. Nah, I don't miss it one bit. So how'd you end up here in Hong Kong? Garrick snaps his finger excitedly. Aha! This ties to my tragic past. A tale of revenge in foreign lands, swords and sorcery. Of dead parents and the criminal underworld. You're awfully excited about a terrible event. Well, what do you expect? It happened when I was a kid, and it was ages ago. I lived in a slum surrounded by gangsters and junkies. Objectively speaking, it was probably the best thing that happened to me. It got me out of Oakland. I've gone to the corner store, and when I got home, my home was on fire. Mom and Dad had been hacked up with a machete. Don't know why. Maybe a BTL debt. Maybe they just got on the wrong side of one of the local gangs. Long story short, local fixer felt bad and took me in. Started me off as an assistant, then moved me up to be his muscle as I got older. Sounds like a familiar story to me. Figured it might. People like us, we tend to come from the same kind of places. Nobody gives up an easy street for a life of crime unless they're seriously screwed up in the head. But that's a better life than begging or being at the bottom of the food chain, yeah? Anyway, once I was old enough, Big 7th fixer hooked me up with my Choi Lee Foot Sifu. That was when I got my first street shops. Odd jobs here and there, and I'm not an adept, so I also had to scrounge up to install where I could afford. I'm out here because my Sifu figured it's time for me to learn from other masters. I've been visiting monks, triad enforcers, and back alley schools for months now. Are you looking to avenge your parents? I guess if it comes up, or if I hear something, it's just the kind of thing I should be on or bound to do, but it was so damn long ago I figure I can afford to let it sit a bit longer. Garrick shrugs, spreading his arms helplessly. Maybe that's kind of weird, but I don't want that part of my past to define me. How'd you get into the whole wandering swordsman thing? It seems a bit melodramatic. I grew up on stories about wandering Jiangsu swordsmen and other martial artists. I loved reading books like The Water Margin, The Deer and the Cauldron, and The Journey to the West. There's a kind of romance to that it appealed to me, and it still does. And all living by their own code, fighting the mighty powers and living by their own wits. It beats the usual story I knew. Born poor, starve, die poor. Garrick gestures off toward the distance. Most people out there haven't got a shred of hope that there's anything better. When you live like that, it grinds you down. I figure if I can see my life as a modern version of one of those classics, I keep my spirits up. And that's worth more to me than all the new and in the world. See you later, Garrick. Hope you find what you're looking for. Hey, thanks. If it happens, it happens. If not, at least I'll have an interesting trip. That's the thing, really. But where you are, be where you are, live when you are. Makes sense? Very zen, Garrick. Everyone's got their own stories. Constable Hui. The constable's attention is locked onto his PDA's display. He inhales through his nose, then speaks. Just because I'm standing here doesn't mean I'm not busy. He shrugs, his tattoos moving with the rising fall of his shoulders. Say your business. Nice neck tattoo. Were you a ganger before you became a cop? Yeah, I got jumped in when I was a kid. In my old neighborhood, it was impossible not to be. I got out when I was a teenager, turned my life around. When I landed in the HKPF, they put my background to good use by sending me undercover. You were a narc? Yep, I worked undercover for a couple of Kulong's nastier street gangs, the Black Butchers and the 444s. Helped to bring them down from the inside. Glad we got that detail. I was good at it, but doing that sort of work takes a toll. What do you do when you're not being a cop? What do I do? You mean, like, my hobbies? That's kind of a strange thing to ask. Just humor me, I'm curious. He shrugs. It's sure okay. I paint. Oils mostly. Landscapes. I've had a few showings in Victoria Harbor coffee shops. Could we change the subject, maybe? This is getting a little too personal for my taste. So, how'd you wind up in this task force? The cover got blown. Barely made it out of 444 territory alive. Couldn't stay undercover any longer, so they had me to find another use for me. When Lamb told me about the task force, I volunteered. I have to go. He waves you away. Go on then. The Defiance. The command trailer. Tion. A bored-looking pirate stands amid a collection of sea mines, a spiral-bound and laminated manual in one hand. The cover reads Ares Mark 62 Naval Mine. He's busily thumbing through it, a sour expression on his face. Hey, you need some? The pirate tosses the manual to the ground near him. Just looking around. Well, look away, friend. You're free to roam wherever you want. You like. Just don't touch these mines. Pretty sure that's self-explanatory, but it's worth mentioning. The pirate jerks a thumb toward the mines. The only reason that the Benteng and our other ships are safe is that we've got enough explosives to level a small island. Without them, we'd be fighting off other pirates left and right. Mines are the pirate code for don't even think about it. Why are you on mine prep duty? Simple. I spent 12 years with the British Royal Navy as an explosive ordnance disposal technician. If it explodes, I know how to set it up or get rid of it. I wouldn't trust anyone else out here to handle them. That's for damn sure. Nobody else is trained. How'd you end up being a pirate? Happenstance mostly. You know what being an EOD tech teaches you to do in the real world? Absolutely nothing. There's not a lot of call for bomb disposal outside of the police, and after my tour of duty was up in the Navy, I'd had enough of following orders. After 12 years of Her Majesty's salty service, my main aim was to get drunk and forget all about being a sailor. I packed my kit and went out around the world. Ended up in Manila, half dead of alcoholism, and met a local girl named Christina. It got serious. She introduced me to her family, and it turned out they were pirates. After we got married, I figured I might as well make myself useful. So here we are, priming mines. The more things change, the more they say the same, right? You like it here? Like it's something to do with it. These pirates are my family, so I gotta stick by them. But yeah, I guess I do. I'd rather be on a beach with a bottle of whiskey, but I can sail to a beach and we've got whiskey in the hold. Nobody's asking me to get shot at, and we're prosperous enough to feed ourselves. It's not a bad life, all things considered. Besides, I don't know how to do anything else aside from set up and disarm explosives. Not exactly a normal job. Would you give it up if you could have a normal life? I don't know, maybe. Hard to say. It's like this. I spent so long as a sailor that I don't know what I'd do if I wasn't on a boat, surrounded by bombs. Kinda messed up when I say it out loud, but that's the truth of it. See you later. Same to you. Stay safe. Leung! The sergeant takes a long drag on her cigarette before meeting your gaze. She looks preoccupied with something. So here you are. She closes her eyes and allows the smoke to spill from her lips. When she opens them again, they're on you. What brings you to my corner of the yard, runner? Got a few things on my mind. I figured that you might be able to shed some light on some of them. Now that the shock's worn off, you got questions, huh? She taps her cigarette, spilling ash into the ground. Alright, tell me what you want to know. So how'd you wind up with this gig? Things were getting pretty stale back in the office. She grabs her nose and gives it a short rub. Sniffs. Actually, they'd been stale for a few years. I needed out. Out of that lifeless recycled air, the constant sound of typing fingers, and the suffocating stench of cologne. She looks like she might gag. I could smell my old boss coming from down the hall. Can't blame you then. It's been a real relief to get away from all that. Being stationed by the docks has had its drawbacks too, but still call it worlds better than the alternative. What do you do when you're not being a cop? It's hard to clock out once you've gotten your badge. A lot of rookies don't realize that it's a 24/7 lifestyle. And the better you get, the more it engulfs you. Leung taps her cigarette. A small clump of glowing ash hits the ground. It's like a radar that won't turn off, or a sixth sense, or whatever. She rolls the small stick between her fingers. Point is, I don't get any free time. Alright then, what would you do if you did have free time? The sergeant lets out a single short laugh, but looks unamused. She raises her hands in a shrug. I'm doing what I want to be doing. Don't misunderstand that. But if my schedule allowed me a moment or two to myself, I'd do what I assume is the usual. Binge watch some Sims. Going out to eat, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'd have a dog or a cat. Yeah, a cat. No, a gerbil. Easier. Now you're just messing with me. Her mouth curls into a smug smile. Maybe. I have to go. She nods. Back to it. Now we gotta talk to Kui. Kui's command trailer is strangely peaceful. The crew of systems experts that formerly manned the multitude of terminals inside are nowhere to be found, and the omnipresent hum of the trailer's computer banks have fallen silent. The senior inspector glances up from her desk, half turning to face you. Good you're here, I... The sentence trails to nothing as she squeezes her eyes shut, wincing. Her hands go up to rub her temples. Yeah. I can give you a minute if you want. No, it's okay. It's just a damn migraine. She rubs her temples with both hands. It's like someone lit a fire behind my eyes. If I were you, I might get that checked out. Someone must have a doctor stashed here somewhere. She waves off your suggestion off. I'll be fine. I already know what's causing this, and it won't be a problem anymore. I ditched it after Lamb turned on us. The Nicholas, you mean? She nods grimly. Yeah, it hurt to use, like looking through lenses of someone else's prescription. Maybe the dream from spellcasting hurt more too. Truth is, I've been in constant pain for the past couple of months. Cost of doing business, I guess. That why you've been so short-tempered? Well, some of that was just me, but the pain didn't help any. I'm still recovering from the impact of wearing that thing for months on end, and I soaked up some nasty drain breaking us out of that trap. I'm not 100%, and I probably won't be for months. I don't need you to be 100%. Get me into a room with Krait and I'll handle the rest. You might have to, but let's hope that it doesn't come to that. She shakes her head to clear it, gritting her teeth in discomfort. Okay, we got a job to do, so let's get to it. Well, let's get... Hang on, there's a couple of things I want to discuss with you before we get into this. She says heavily, rubs the bridge of her nose. Yeah, okay. I guess I owe you some answers. Go ahead and say what you want to say. You got my attention. Tell me about magic. Your magic. I need to know more about your capabilities before we enter the field again. What you saw in the Tiger's Den is what you get. I can make you move faster, I can make you aim better, and I can reduce small groups of assholes into their component items. And in a pinch, I can crack a shot with my duty weapon. So we got that going for us, too. That's about it. That's what I can do. But like I said, I'm not operating at peak efficiency right now. Truth be told, I'm having trouble staying upright. Another hit of drain like that last one, and I'll be in trouble. Let's just make sure it doesn't come to that. Alright. You kept secrets for Lamb. I want to make sure that you aren't keeping any more from me. If I had any more surprises in store, I'd have sprung them on you already. But I don't, Sangshan. I'm pissed off, I'm hurt, I'm tired, and I'm scared to death of what's coming. All that I really want to do is lie down and sleep for a month, but that isn't an option either. Alright, fair enough. Got a question for you, though. You told Lamb that you suspected Ko, but not him. Why? Alright, talk then. Tell me what's bothering you. Let's clear the air so we can concentrate on the job. So yeah, you told Volt that you suspected Ko, but not him. Why? Because he was an idealist. A damn cheater, truth be told. He was always moralizing, going on about the standards that we need to hold ourselves onto. She grinds her teeth in aggravation. He used to harp on and on about transparency and accountability, about how we're supposed to serve the public first and the council second. So he was lying to you then, and you bought it. Yeah, I bought it. Obviously, I made a mistake. Alright, you owe me an apology then, Kui. Her lips curl into a grimace. This about the magical interrogation? I already told you that I was sorry about that. Sorry doesn't cut it. You fucking tortured me, Quee. Yeah, okay. So what exactly do you want me to do about that? I've already blown all my money on influence saving our lives. Apologies are all that I've got to give you at this point. You sound sincere enough. Alright, Quee. Apology accepted. Good. Thank you for being reasonable. Now can we please look at the PDA? Alright. I'm ready to go when you show me the PDA and we'll get to work. You fished Lamb's PDA out of the evidence bag that Quee had you put it in. The device is in bad shape. Its case warped and bent, but the screen winks at your command. The display is streaked with Lamb's dry blood. Looks like red gelatin, thin and watery. You can just make out the text underneath. Lamb, Andy, secure mailboxes, inbox, outbox, live chat, trash bin, junk mail. Search the inbox. Package delivery and standing orders. First message. From Co. Everything is ready on our end. Now you need to hold up your end of the deal. The package can be delivered before the wild card leaves the evidence room, or this whole thing is gonna get messy. I'm the package, I guess, making me the wild card. She rolls her eyes. What an idiot. If he wanted to speak in code, he would have at least made he could have made it a little less obvious about it. If things do get nasty, it's your ass, Lamb. Krait wants this to go by the numbers, and that means both the package and the wildcard caught in the same trap. We can't chance the package catching a bullet before we can question her, and a firefight in the hallway could raise some questions. You know your job. Do it well and you'll get what we were promised. Co. Co was the task force magical interrogator, right? The pockmarked guy who worked me over before you got to me? Yeah, and now he's a mound of bloody ash decorating the floor of the Tiger's Den evidence room. Overall, I'd call that an improvement. Second message. From Krait. Mr. Lamb, much as I appreciate your concern for the citizens of Hong Kong, it's not your place to question my tactics. The behavior of the SDU is none of your concern. The changes that you hope to see will never come about while Mitsuhama is viewed favorably by the Executive Council. Our client wants to see its reputation tarnished, and a certain amount of heavy-handedness on our part is necessary to make it happen. It's all part of the plan, Senior Inspector. You do your job and let me do mine. Alright, so that's where Krait's greater people come into this. The massacre at the end of the Kulong City riots, the police brutality that led to the riots in the first place, they were all intended to hurt Mitsuhama's PR. What's the end goal? Why would anyone spend this much money to tank the reputation of their own police force? Taking out civil authority would be the first stage of a military coup. She shakes her head, frowning. Maybe. Let's keep reading. Let's go for outbox. Okay, I'm in. Alright, Co, I've reconsidered your proposal and I want in. You're right. You were right. Kui is the lost cause. She's corporate to the bone, and trying to argue with her is like talking to a brick wall. She doesn't give a damn about what the HKPF is supposed to stand for. All that matters to her is the company's bottom line. Oh, fuck you, you little weasel. At least I don't turn on my own people for a paycheck. It's funny. I used to be such an idealist. I joined the HKPF because I wanted to help people. But that isn't what this organization is about, whatever the recruiters say. Good cops don't have a place in Mitsuhama's police force. The corporate culture of the HKPF either changes them if they're weak, or chews them up if they're strong. Either way, they wind up broken, and I can't be a part of that machine anymore. The big change that you're talking about, it's a chance to fix things. A real honest-to-God chance. And so, as much as I hate your methods, I'm gonna help you. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I want the HKPF to be better, and this is a chance to make that happen. A remote chance, maybe, but it's better than nothing. Big change. Sounds like he's expecting some sort of shakeup within the HKPF. Her frown deepens. Yeah, sounds that way. Tell Krait I'm in. I can bring you Kui, and I can help you dismantle this task force. But you should know that if you've been bullshitting me, if things don't change for the better, I'm coming after you. You can count on that. Threatening a mage like Code is rarely a good idea. Lamb would have gotten himself killed if he tried anything. Still, we learned something here. Lamb was convinced that Krait and her people were working toward some sort of shakeup in the HKPF. A big change. Ominous words? Yeah, they are. Let's keep reading, see what else we can turn up. Second message. Irene. I know that you have every reason to hate the police, but hear me out. What happened to your family was wrong. I'm gonna do everything I can to make it right. I can't bring your husband back, but I can help make sure that the constables who killed him pay for their crime. Big changes are coming, I promise. Between then and now, please allow me to cover your mortgage payments. I recently came into a large sum of money and I want you to have it. Consider it a show of good faith until I can bring you the justice that you deserve. Lamb. I don't know anything about this, she frowns. Must have been related to some old case of Lamb's, from before he got assigned to the task force. Or maybe it was a personal thing. A friend of his, or a romantic interest? It was someone he cared about, that much is clear. Feels like a motive to me. This sounds like Lamb blamed HKP at culture for this woman's family tragedy. Personal crusades haven't started for less. Yeah, sure. Grouping up the people responsible for the Kulon massacre out of guilt, though? She shakes her head. What kind of ass backward thinking is that? Let me, Eulania David. Hey! The kind that idealists and zealots have always used to justify their actions. Nothing new about it. Sorry about having to put out the comment. This whole thing raises more questions than it answers. Let's keep going. There has to be more to it for us to find. Third message. This message has been corrupted. Immediately, a stream of garbled text fills the screen. Figures. Live chat folder. Sang-Jan. Did you authorize a second mind probe on Long while he was unconscious? I'm looking at the transcript of his interview, and he insists that two majors were screwing around with his brain last night. No. I was against you having him scanned in the first place, remember? Why would I give authorization for two different mages to poke around in his brain? I don't know. Maybe you wanted two sets of findings to check against one another? I know that you had trust issues where magic is concerned. I didn't authorize anything, Lamb, and unless we have a second magical interrogator that I don't know about in the task force, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that he's making it up. So what? You just want to dismiss this? You don't think it warrants further investigation? In a perfect world, I'd tell you to knock yourself out, but right now, in the world that we live in, there's no time for that. We're too close to Krait to go hunting for a mystery mage who may or may not exist. The council doesn't want any more delays, Lamb. Neither does Mitsuhama, so drop it and do your job. I don't want to have to tell corporate about this. Alright, Fee, you win. For now. But this discussion isn't over. Yeah, Lamb, it is. Keep going, Sang-Jan. Let's see what else there is to see. Alright, and now for the junk mail. Lamb's junk mail folder is packed to the gills with all manner of unsolicited messages. Scam mail, advertisements for everything from illicit drugs to designer electronics, and countless pornographic images fill the screen. It'd take days to sort through all of this for anything useful, and searching by trial and error would likely expose the PDA to a whole host of nasty worms and viruses. Remind me never to open my own junk mail folder. Let's search the folder for tag messages. Enter tag ID. Son of a... Krait? Search the trash bin, then. A little digging reveals a file buried in the PDA's trash can. Looks like Sam intended to get rid of it, but he died before he could get around to pulling the trigger on it. From Krait. Mr. Crow tells me you've accepted our offer. Welcome aboard. Once you've delivered Kui, report to me and we'll have you relocated to the Tai Po facility. You'll be safe there. We have the location under 24-hour guard for obvious reasons. From there on out, all you need to do is keep your head down and count your money. You keep up your end, you'll still be very wealthy and an influential man. If Krait's client, whoever it is, has something worth guarding Tai Po, then that's what we need to check out next. Let's keep going. This is good intel, but we need to get everything out of this PDA that we can. Tai Po, maybe? Oh, good catch, Sang-Jan. Keep your mouth shut. Don't make me regret the fact that I brought you onto this team. quit haranguing Krait with your high-minded bullshit. She's a busy woman and she doesn't want to hear it. Krait's a businesswoman. She isn't in this for the change thing. She just wants to get paid. If you keep harping about what the people need, you're gonna piss her off, and then we'll have both land on our shit list. I get that you have ideals. I respect them, but repeat this to yourself until it sinks in. The people aren't paying us. Ares is. We do what they say, and sometimes that means hurting people. Sack it up and deal with it. Shit! If this is true, we got problems. Ares Macro Technology is even bigger than Mitsuhama is, and Ares Asia Holdings has a major presence on the Executive Council. Remember, Lamb, ultimately everything we're doing is for the greater good. Just wait until you see what's happening in Taipo with your own eyes. The change that you're looking for is coming. And as long as everything goes according to plan, it'll be here before they know it. Play it cool and everything will be just fine. Co. Obviously, whoever we're up against was going to have access to money and resources. I expected that. But Ares? That's damn near a worst-case scenario for us. She gestures feebly at the screen. Keep reading if you want. I have to think about this for a minute. I think that's everything we're getting. She accepted the device, a grim expression on her face. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe you're right. Kui turns the PDA over in her hand, then flips off the device's power switch. The screen flickers and dies. She rubs her eyes, drawing her attention to the dark halls underneath them. Alright, so here's what we got. Krait and her people are working for Ares. They're trying to take Mitsuhama's reputation with the Executive Council so they can bring about some kind of change inside the HKPF. And they've got a facility in Taipo that they're keeping under heavy guard. It's presumably related to the change in some way. Sounds about right to me. It isn't much, but it's something. At least we know who's holding Krait's leash. The answer to that question isn't particularly comforting, but it's better than not knowing at all. We also know where we're going next. Taipo. That's where we finish this. You're right. That's where we'll find our answers. She runs her tongue along her lips, wetting them. We need a plan. We can't just go in blind. Call in the big guns. Talk to Mitsuhama. Corporate. My credibility with them has more or less blown them out at this point, but I'll see what I can do. You go back to your boat and inform the rest of your team. I'll call you when I know more. Got it? I'll talk with them then. Good. I'll be in touch. Alright! And I'm gonna call it here for today because, man, that has been a long episode. So we finally understand who's Krait working for. Ares Macro Technology. Specifically the Asia Holdings. But what? I don't know. But I'll call it here for today. Long episode, and hopefully the stream's going to process well. Anyway, I'm Dragon King Mark, and next time we're going to go talk with our crew, possibly for the final time, and then we're going to go to Taipo. And then, end this. If you like what you saw, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to stay notified when I'm going to upload, and I'll see all of you next time. Laters.